So welcome to Rest of Designs, guys, and welcome to another episode in Project Joker. I can't remember if it's episode part 8 or part 7, I've lost count. And also in the last video you saw, I kind of did all the tests, run all through, cycled through all the tests that need to be done to make sure the issue wasn't going to blow up, wasn't going to burn it up, and also we had the right voltages and everything else. Also check the pump, and as we saw, one of the pumps wasn't working, that's the in-tank pump. So that's the first thing we're going to be doing in today's video, which is I'm going to show you guys how to replace the in-tank pump. Pretty straightforward, as well as it needs to be wired in, because there is actually the wiring. This car was originally C1 and now it's running all C2, so I just need to kind of splice the C1 side of the loom for those pumps into the fuse box. I'm going to show you guys how to do that as well as there's another box behind here, and that is here, and let me open this up for you. Look how cute that is. That's a little expansion bottle from the VW Up. The owner also, when he had the strut brace welded in, he actually removed the little bracket that holds the original expansion bottle. And yep, and now I've got to find a quite cool place for this, make a little bracket and mount it up, potentially kind of just off the side of the engine at the right height, so that it obviously self-bleeds. If it's too low, it's not going to bleed, or you're going to have air bubbles in the heater matrix, because that's actually quite tall, so I need it to be slightly higher than just the heater, the heater inside the car. So that's what we're going to be covering, as well as we're doing up a few more little bits on the car, get the car on the floor, and fire this up by the end of the video, guys. So please watch till the end, hopefully. But before we get into all of that, guys, I've got to say a big, massive thank you for all the likes, the comments in the last video, and also the support, guys. If you guys actually got something back, you're helping me out, as well as I hope you guys are actually getting good deals, which is I had about 4 or 5 items sold straight away as the video dropped on my website, restofdesigns.com. Please check it out, guys. There's information, photos on there, as well as I've got like a little store on there, and I've got like I said, I've kind of downsized my workshop, and now I've got loads of bits that I don't really need. I've been sitting around, a bit of a hoarder, so you're helping me out, and hopefully you guys are getting good value in return. And I've got loads of bits for sale, and I'm going to show you guys what's going to be dropping on the website this Sunday. So where do I start? I guess we'll start with the Mark II stuff, and we start with what's here. Windscreen bottle, phase 2, it's a 4-litre one, and as you can see, it's actually really good condition. Got a couple of these 292 relays, and for you guys who don't know what these are like a light buzzer. So basically you just literally ignition 12 earth, and then earth to the actual brown white wire that goes to the door pin, and then one of these just goes to the lights, front or rear, doesn't make a difference. And then what happens is you open the door with the lights on, buzzer goes off. It warns you that, it's a warning for your lights. So basically on a Mark II, that can come in quite handy. So next here we've got an ignition loom, which is unmolested. Normally these will get cut for alarms, or they get burnt out plugs and stuff. And as these, you can see, it's a really perfect set of CE2. These are for the late fuse box. Now we're going to move along to these odd little things here. All your GTDs with the top mount intercooler. The boost pipes kind of run parallel, and these just kind of tie the boost pipes together, basically. Interior light, nothing special, right? This is for sunroof models, and what it is it's got this little circuit board here, which has actually got a delay. I think it lasts about 15 to 20 seconds delay on it. It comes in handy. Get into the car, the light stays on, especially at night. Lets you find your key, put the key into the ignition, start the car, and it kind of just slowly dims out. It's really cool. Now we're going to move over. Okay, let's deal with this mirror first. So I've got here if you're sitting in the car, it's a right side door mirror, electric. Unfortunately, the glass that's in it is not heated, it's just a normal mirror. And now I've actually got 5 of these. I didn't realize I had so many of them. And 3 of them are for Passats, which you can still use on your Mark II Golf. Maybe it's not in so keeping with the style of the Mark II, because the Mark II ones are like this. But yeah, you can utilize these if you can't find them. These will obviously be slightly cheaper than those. So moving right along, another 16 valve heat shield, and this one's actually probably in better condition than the one that just sold. It's come up for sale. Another one, be quick. And the difference between this one actually comes with the little rear clips that actually hold it in place, especially as you can see up here. Hopefully it'll focus. You can see the clips are actually intact, the one that kind of folds over where the rain tray goes. So that's pretty cool. B3 Passat front gearbox mounts. Now these are, you're going to need these if you're doing a O2A or an O2J conversion in your Mark II Golf. You can use the Mark III ones, but the Mark III ones have the wrong angle. It's going to tilt the engine back. If you've got a 20 valve in the UK, that's going to hit your brake master cylinder. Also, the angle of the exhaust is going to be totally wrong. These are quite hard to come by, and they also come with the bolts. And I'll actually show you a Mark III one compared to this. The Mark III one, so you guys can actually see side by side the angle difference and the distance as well, even from here to here. Engine conversions, this is for left-hand drive only, guys, not for UK viewers, unfortunately. This is the bracket that kind of goes on the bulkhead where the brake servo or the brake booster bolts onto there, and this is where the clutch master cylinder goes onto there for the clutch pedal. And it also even comes with this little seal which actually sits in between, slides in between there and the bulkhead, so you've got a nice perfect seal, no sound or smoke or vapors coming in to the cabin with that seal. Okay, next box is new stuff. This is the only new stuff that I've got, and these are 5 sets of original Hella wing indicators or repeaters. They basically complete everything: the seal, the bulb holder, and original Hella ones. They don't even, obviously it doesn't come with a bulb, but it comes with everything else. This, guys, pretty rare here. So it's for your heated seats, the wiring loom. That is similar to the Mark III, or the same as the Mark III, that side of it. Where it differs from the Mark III are these plugs. If you've got an original set of Recaros or heated seats in your Mark II, these are the plugs that you'll have under your seat, and these are the plugs that you need. This is the wiring loom you need. All I've done is actually just use some Tessa tape, tied it all up. It's basically plug and play into your original Mark II loom. Okay, now these are right side window frame, whatever you want to call these, window frames, or the seals for the outside of the window. These things here, and they're actually for the same side, which is the UK driver side, European passenger side, which is the right side. They're in good condition. They haven't kind of peeled off. They're not rusted or anything, but they will need, the paint that's on there has cracked slightly, loads of like little cracks. I don't know if the camera's going to pick it up, maybe it will. So it's going to need a light sand and then just a bit of paint on there, and I'm sure they'll look as good as new. Now we're going to move over to the Mark III stuff. I don't actually have a lot of stuff. So we have here, quite rare, interior light for a Mark III Golf, which is in black. This is a basic one with no matte breeding light, but also, unfortunately, the screen is actually cracked slightly, but this does pop off, and you can actually replace it with, you know, your standard, if you've got a white one, with another screen on there. But I'm going to be selling this on the cheap. Again, if you guys are doing the Mark III headlining, you've retrimmed it in black, you found yourself, or you've painted, or you've trimmed the A, B, C pillar, but you've got the problem of the interior light, that's sorted, but you also need the handles. And these are the grab handles for the Mark III in black from an anniversary. And the only oddball here is the Mark IV. This is from a Passat W8, if I'm not mistaken. It's basically got the kind of mood lighting here. It's all in good working condition, comes with the plug, as well as some kind of wire. I think there was something else was connected to it to make it work, I think, for these little mood lights. But yeah, it's got like a conversion plug there. Yep, and that's for the Mark IV. Again, the condition's not great, and the price will reflect that. Guys, please help me out. It would help me out massively if you bought some merchandise, but also help yourselves out, guys, and buy some of the stuff that's actually for sale. You know, I need to get rid of it. You guys need it. It's a win-win, baby. Enough talking. let's get into today's video. Well, with these old cars, not everything goes to plan all the time. So literally, I tried tapping it in a few places, wouldn't budge. Got some big kind of pliers that I've got, really massive ones. As you can see, it still just would not move. Been on it for about at least an hour and a half. It just would not move, proper stuck on there. So in the end, I had to get my multi-tool and carefully just trim it off to actually get it off. So now I'm gonna have to go to the scrapyard and source one of these. I think I know where there is a Mark II. It doesn't have to be a GTI, they're all the same. If they're a carburettor or a diesel, this is, as far as I'm concerned, or as far as I know, I think these are all exactly the same size. There's no difference in those. All right, so the pump's finally out. And I can double check it here on the bench just to make sure, but I'm sure I've tried it already. It doesn't work, there's no point in retesting it. But so just be careful, because obviously it's gonna be fragile, especially this little bit in here as well. Actually, I'm surprised it's actually in really good condition for its age and just for sitting around as well with stale fuel in it. So let me just unplug that first. And it's literally just a matter of unscrewing this Jubilee clip. Yep. There we go. And hopefully the one I've got is, there was a lot, it'd obviously been sitting on the shelf for quite a while, had a bit of dust on it. The original one, still got the original one in there from Germany. It's a VDO one. I mean, what's the date on this? No, it actually says 94 on it, so maybe it isn't the original one, but it was replaced in 94. So yeah, I think it's due a replacement. And here we got a Pierberg one. There's a difference in the pickup, but I'm sure it's fine. And we've got the same plug connector. We do plus minus. As you can see on there, maybe you can make it out. Yeah, she does say plus there, minus there on that little bit here, which it says here in bigger, plus and minus. So the orientation, the pump's going to spin the right way around. So I got a small touch of Vaseline on there just to make it life a little bit easier. Putting that in. So now I can tighten this back up. All right, so it's quite important that you get it kind of clocked the right way around. Otherwise, when you put the plug on, as you can see, it kind of gets quite close to this lever arm, which is for the fuel level sender. So make sure it's all free. It's not touching on anything. All right, so now I just need to clean up with some contact spray. These connectors here, they've got a bit of corrosion on them. So that looks a little bit better. So I've given the contacts a clean, as well as giving this little area around here a clean. So I can actually drop this in, we can actually test it and run it up without that, and I can put that on afterwards. But the main thing now really is to see if we can get this running. So let's make sure fit this back in the car and make sure it all works and pumps up the fuel to the front. So that's in, that's as far as I can take it probably for now. Hopefully by the end of the video I will have a cap. Put 2 new Jubilee clips on there, cleaned it all up, and now I'm going to do the wiring. And here we have on the workbench the wiring. So I've tidied it all up with felt tape, left a bit at the end, so it's really quite simple really. Earth is earth. I don't know if I'll use the earth for the body, because then if it comes off, the car's not going to run. I think the fuse box actually has a dedicated earth for this in the C2 one. This red and yellow one, which is the 12 that feeds the pump, and then we've got the 2 that go into the gauge. So we're going to find locations where they go in the back of the fuse box, get some pins and drop these in the right locations, and then hopefully turn the key and the ECU will prime the pumps and we'll get this all working. So let me show you guys a closer look of what I've done.
So all I had left to do as far as this was concerned was the OBD port, done already, the communication wire, but I needed power and earth, so I've wired that into the right locations, which goes into plug M. Hopefully you guys can see there. And then this is plug L, and it already had, so I just depinned them and put that's for the gauge, the earth for the gauge, and the actual signal for the gauge. And then we've got, like I said, the battery, and then we've got the two thicker ones, which are the fuel pump ones, which you can see they're bigger as well there because they take more current. And it just plugs in, so we've done that side of it now. So that's in, that's locked, ECU's plugged in. Now, if I put the key in the ignition, oh, it helps if I plug the battery in. Now hopefully we'll hear the fuel pump priming. Perfect. Yep, that's all good. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to check and make sure there's actually full pressure here, and there's also no fuel leaks here as well actually. It's quite important to always check. So now that side of it is done, the pump's priming, it's almost ready to start, but we need to move on, actually get some coolant in this. So I've checked all the fuel lines, they're all fine. And as you can see, I've actually pushed the standard pipe in. Now I've had a word with the owner, and he's a bit pushed now on budget and on time, and he wants the car back as soon as possible. So I couldn't let the car go out like this. In the end, the owner it's his car. He's willing to let it go like this. He said he's going to put some clear film on here, but says he's going to rub and it potentially might pop off. He seems okay with that. I can only advise an owner what is best and what is not to do, but yeah, it could be a week or two before the pipes come and the bits and bobs and the extra cost and time that is involved in making something up. And yep, he's decided to let it go out like this, so I've kind of squeezed it on. And then this is obviously going to sit like this, which isn't great as well. But yep, that's what the owner wants. So in the end, I can only kind of accommodate and advise him as much as I can, but ultimately the last word is on him. And moving over to the little bench here, you've got the original Bosch air math sensor or airflow sensor, and here's the one that came off the 1.8. Now they're identical apart from the part numbers, so I'm not going to risk it, as well as we know this one works. The car never really ran properly with this one on there, so you can see this is a slightly different part number. Ends in 160 and this is ends in 130, so we're going to stick with that. So I'm just going to fit that into the original airbox. You can have that in the boot. Already mounted up the Passat 2-litre airflow meter into the top part of the original 8 valve. They're exactly the same body and fitment. The part numbers are different, so the values. I noticed that there's glue here on the inside and there's a crack there and this. I'm assuming this airbox has been repaired. I'm sure at one later stage he was thinking about going standalone management on this, like a Mega Squirt or something, the K-Data one. In that case, if he does go that, then we can change this to a GTD box and actually get rid of the air mass meter and just be a cleaner flow for the air filter if and when it comes to that. And like I'm saying, so we're almost ready to start, so I need to put coolant on it again. We're a bit limited here. I would have used a new radiator. This is the radiator out of the actual car. Maybe the car had AC, I'm not sure, but this radiator is humongous. It's like a GTD one. Literally comes right to the end there and there. It's the biggest one there is. It had no pipes with this, and the pipes that it did have were slightly different because obviously the intakes were different, but funny enough I found one. I think this is off a Mark III. It seems to fit perfectly for the bottom one. And this one I found in my collection as well. As you can see, I put the hoses on now. They fit perfectly. Like I said, I don't know what this one's from. The bottom one's a Mark III one. And it fit perfectly. I've also put on, because he's going skinny bumpers again, I've put that front panel along there. Now I've got the fan cowling, which I've painted up. The original fan doesn't really spin. So yeah, look, it turns, but it's very, very stiff. This is one I had spare in my stock. As you can see, it spins a lot better. I can't really tell the part number on this because it's all covered up already, unfortunately. This is actually not a bad one. They do actually have different motors with different amperages as well. So I can double check the part number. Normally I'll have it here, but there's a 40 amp motor. I think there is variable ones, but yeah, this is off the original fan from a Project Freebie. So yeah, what I'm gonna do is clean this up, give that a bit of paint maybe in black. At least it matches the cowling, even though it's got an old radiator. At least those bits that I can actually have some control over are looking as good as they can do. Watching videos while I'm working. But anyway, back onto this. So the expansion bottle, it's from the VW up. It's from the VW up, like I showed you guys. And this is a little bracket that I've made. So there's actually a little takeoff here on the rocker cover. For some reason, the cam cover, there's like a little M6 there. And what I've done is I've actually drilled a 4.5mm hole and actually then tapped it, made this little bracket, and now that sits perfectly like that there. And that's how it's going to look. So next now is going to be actually to extend this hose because it doesn't really fit. No, it does actually fit. No, it's going to be too stretched. So I have to get a longer hose for there. This is actually from a Mark IV Golf. This connector from all that stuff that sits on the 1.8T, the 20 valve turbo underneath the inlet manifold, these little takeoffs and the water bits and bobs. It's quite messy, the 20 valve turbo, and yep, it's got one of those T's off there. I need to get like a little hose now that kind of does that kind of shape. It goes from there to there. So let me go in my box of pipes and see where I can source these two little bits. Bottles all mounted, found a hose, quite a strange hose actually. I don't think I've ever, the part number, it is actually a VW part. It's a 1HM, not even 1H0, it's a 1HM. So it's off a Mark III of some sort. But yeah, so that's done with this overflow, the self-bleed system all done. I do like these attention to my little clips that I've actually found, and even here for the ignition one as well. Got a cute little one on there. So now it's ready for some fluids, and then we can actually fire this up for the first time.